Welcome back to Fostering Communication, the show where we get honest about our people, our customers, and what it takes to serve like family. Today we're talking about growth, real inside the company growth. And to do that, we're going to be sitting down with Spencer Gowers, our newest service manager. He's held positions all the way from service tech to quality control coordinator. And he was also part of our very first class of Dad University, way back in 2022. The more I've gotten to know Spencer, the more I like the guy. He speaks from his heart, and he taught me a really cool acronym today that's a play on two words that meant a lot to me as a kid. And watch out for his stray lightsaber, because this guy's a Star Wars fanatic. I think you're gonna like him. Here's Spencer. Okay. All right, I think we are ready to go. What are you doing?
Nothing.
Where'd you find that? Sean, you know you cannot leave stuff around.
I'm sorry, I thought it was in the back.
These darn texts, they will. If it's out, they're gonna mess around with it.
Too much power in this room.
All right, welcome back to Fostering.
If you really want, we can keep that one. I'm not gonna be bothered. I promise. Okay.
Is that good?
Yeah, I'm okay. I like that.
I like that. All right, awesome. Welcome back to Fostering Communication. All right, I have to do this sometimes, so I apologize, Spencer, but you have to enunciate your last name for me. Is it Gowers?
It sure is.
Okay, Spencer Gowers.
Yep. Easiest way is Gowers, but Powers with a G.
Sweet. See,
Gower
how
Power,
often are you saying that?
Way too much.
Yeah. Is that something you came up with?
A long time ago, yes.
So like elementary school
Just
era?
about.
Yeah.
Just about.
Was that taught to you, or did you come up with that?
I think my brother and I probably just, somebody said it once or something like that. We
and it just
stuck to it. Yeah.
All right, that's awesome. All right, well, Spencer, thank you for being on today. Obviously, newestly minted service manager out of Hickory. So just want to sit down, have a conversation, see what you've been up to, why you decided you wanted to get into leadership. Obviously, you've been here now since 22. You were part of our inaugural apprenticeship class, so want to talk about that as well. But
Gladly.
Before we dig into anything, let's sit down. Let's hear your background. Who are you? Where are you from? And how'd you pick Call Dad?
Gladly. That's a fun story. So originally, I'm from Utah.
Yeah.
Spent most of my youth down there. And then
Where in Utah?
All over. All over the place.
Yeah.
From American Fork, South Jordan, Layton, just kind of everywhere.
Yeah. I've never been to Utah. I hear it's beautiful, but I've actually never been.
There's only 3 seasons. You got snow, spring, and construction. That's about it. It's pretty rough, but
Do you still have family in Utah?
I do. I do have family in Utah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But we, on my mom's side, they're all from North Carolina, so hence the transition was pretty easy. But so I'm originally from Utah, but I've always seen North Carolina my home. One of your questions was how I got into all Call Dad, essentially.
Yeah. Well, how did you? What were you doing before Call Dad? Like, what was your last job before Call Dad?
I actually jumped around a lot of jobs. So the biggest job probably before this is I used to work at the Target distribution center down in Newton.
Yeah.
I had a few different roles down there, and I was trying to do school in the background full time. I was taking care of my newborn, my first kid at that time as well. And I worked there for about 4 years or so.
So this is the regional distribution center for Target.
Yes, sir.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. A lot going on there.
Yeah.
It was definitely busy, and my struggle was I was trying to balance work life with school with family life, and I felt kind of stuck. I couldn't dive as far into schooling as I wanted.
Were you forklift qualified?
I sure was.
Okay.
Yep. By all means, yes.
When I first started posting jobs in this industry, it was like I didn't know based on how I changed the job descriptions who I would get to apply, but I knew that I would get at least 50% forklift qualified operator.
Forklift certified. Proud of the fact.
So you made it.
I made it.
All right, sorry, I'll stop.
You're good. What I was studying for was vastly different than HVAC.
Yeah.
Originally, I was studying for radiology.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, it's like x-rays and everything. Yeah. So I was memorizing, medical terms, memorizing bones and muscles and lots of fun stuff, nothing to do with heating and air.
Which, by the way, I mean, that was still, and I mean, arguably still could be a very, very lucrative career path, right?
Sure.
But I would say that's probably one that would be heavily impacted potentially by AI. Is that fair?
Yeah. My understudy would have been even more affected.
Yeah.
It was, since I like helping people, but I also liked the technological aspect. That's why radiology looked interesting to me. But on the side, I was learning programming and computer science, just trying to get my foot in that door.
Yeah.
So I married the both. Radiology.
Yeah.
Really glad I didn't go into that field, and I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
During several assignments, I found myself getting a lot more angry than I care to admit.
What do you mean?
So if you're sitting on a computer looking at thousands of lines of code, trying to squash one bug, you could be there for like 9 hours before you finally find the right problem. And I had
in a haystack.
Definitely that.
Yeah.
And I'd have like my daughter would come up or my wife would say, "Hey, can you change this diaper or something?" I had to stop everything I'm doing, completely forget everything, start all over. Yeah. And I didn't want that to be the image my kids grew up with.
Yeah.
To see, Dad's just stuck at his desk, and not that there's anything wrong with that profession. There's nothing wrong with that profession, but for me personally, the way it affected them, I didn't want them to come up to me and be upset.
Yeah.
And so I started looking for different jobs. I started looking for different careers. I tried working again at different places like Walmart, even just so I left Target
back to
and
distribution.
Back to distribution. I went back and forth, trying to do full-time school. Realized I couldn't do that and had to support the family. And then, if you had asked me like a year before, I had that little crisis of what should I do, school or work, HVAC would have been a big hard no. I definitely would not have picked heating and air.
Yeah.
But there was a point in my life where I got really desperate.
What do you think would have been the hard no?
Crawl spaces.
Yeah.
Spiders. Yeah. Unknowns.
Yeah.
I did not want anything to do with it back in the day.
Yeah.
And so I remember being really desperate where I thought, I'm not making any money. I'm not gaining any educational smarts. I need to find something new. And my parents had a family friend who was in the HVAC industry. And I've always rationalized with myself, said, you know what, I can be uncomfortable, but as long as I provide for my family, I can find a way to be happy.
Yeah.
And so what happened was I started looking online. I tried applying to different companies, but I ran into the same issue. There is no good training program.
Yeah.
There is nothing here. There's online courses, and any company I asked, they said, well, we'll get back to you when it's open. It was there, but there was no hard date or nothing.
Yeah.
And then I think it was on Indeed, and I saw Sky Heating and Air Conditioning. I thought, well, screw it, let's go for it. It's an apprenticeship program, I'll apply.
Yeah. So this was, well, first of all, back up a little bit, because you said something on the aspect of motivation, which is, Mike Rowe has said this. I've mentioned this before, but he has this saying about like success, and a lot of people spend most of their life searching for purpose, or searching for kind of that motivation. And his perspective is, you don't find your purpose, you bring it with you. And you said that in a way of like, ultimately the realization that it doesn't matter what it is. What matters is that I'm achieving, fulfilling my family's needs, right? So that level of you didn't say it, but that's kind of what you're getting at. Is like,
way than I did,
it doesn't matter what it is. I'm taking my purpose with me, because this is my purpose, and it doesn't matter what it is. I'm going to solve it like that. So that's pretty cool that you realized that.
Thank you.
And then you went out to fulfill that. But what was there? At that moment, were you like, screw the crawl space? Like, did you know?
At that point, I said, I need something. I need something that can really be stable.
Yeah. Was Matt Stewart doing his like full-on elevator speech of you will deal with spiders, snakes, all
Definitely
that?
Did.
Were you at that moment like, do I really want to do this? Or
at that moment, I was a lot more gung-ho, but my questions were more on the lines of, if something were to happen to me, what was going to happen to my family? And so was negligible. That was I could overcome that.
Yeah.
The biggest scare was actually later when I was signing up and putting all the details and stuff.
Yeah.
So back then, Derek was the service manager in Hickory. I met with Matt, and he kind of said, "Hey, Matt's got a couple questions. You should talk to him." And we sat down and we had a talk and stuff. But when it came down to, okay, we want you in the program. You got like a week to make a decision, because I came on the very last minute, essentially.
Yeah.
I remember sitting down in their conference room, filling out like, okay, this is my first and last name, address, and we were going onboarding, essentially.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know about this at the time with Derek, but he's a really fit guy. He likes to go running on his lunch breaks, for example. Back then, he had time for it.
Yeah.
And so he set me up with a computer, and I was on a Zoom call and said, all right, hey, I'll check up on you in a few minutes. Here's your pen and paper. And, a few hours go by. And he had just gone off from running, and I was in this moment of kind of terrified. Is this the right decision? Should I continue with this? I'm about to sign up. Really nervous if this is really for me. And he comes barging in the room with nothing but shorts and covered in sweat, saying, "Hey, Spence, how you doing?" And so I was terrified, thinking, what in the world have I just signed up for? He's laughed at that before. I've shared that with him. I don't know if he remembers or not, but
I bet Sean can find a picture of Derek at like CrossFit or something.
Plenty of shirtless.
Oh gosh. But nonetheless, I had a good feeling about it. Funnily enough, I had a good feeling about everything still, and honestly, that was the best choice I've ever made career-wise.
Yeah.
I've absolutely loved falling into HVAC.
Yeah.
It's been a big journey, but I've absolutely loved it, every moment of it.
Yeah. Well, again, like I said, I don't want to harbor on this too much, but I still do. Back to the point of the radiology thing, especially like when you say that you were more on the coding side of it, like all those jobs, I don't want to be a naysayer, but are big threats from what the technology is evolving towards. So back to your, bring your purpose with you. I think you made a great decision. And clearly you've excelled. I mean, we're going to talk about this, but clearly you've excelled and grown beyond what you initially signed up for. So good decision, good job, and way to realize that as you're going through that process of kind of hopping around. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
All right. Dad, you number one. Very different than Dad, you number 10.
By large leaps and bounds, yes.
Yeah. So bring us back to Dad You One. And we've talked about this a few times on this Fostering Communication podcast. So like you don't have to go full detail, but just what was it like to be in class 1?
It felt kind of more like a mom and pop kind of store at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still that backbone now,
Yeah.
but back then there was not as much resource.
Yeah.
It was bare bones, I think. It's probably just because it was the start, it was the inaugural thing of it, really.
Yeah.
I remember having to search a lot of YouTube at that time.
Yeah.
Just because, we had some books and stuff, but it was very different than having hands-on. There wasn't nearly as much as there is now.
Yeah. Almost no lab time.
None at all.
Yeah.
The most lab time you had was when you were actually, all right, you got your EPA, go ride with somebody.
Yeah.
And I learned a whole lot there. That was really wonderful. But it was almost trial by fire.
Yeah.
And definitely a night and day difference than it is now.
Yeah. I mean, the level, like we were talking earlier today, but just the levels of support that's given. And hopefully you were warned. I know I at least warned some folks multiple times that, this class or these first, really 3-4 classes are kind of, I hate to say it, but at the tip of the spear. You will be the support one day that other people need, but that's what it's like building a program, especially an apprenticeship program.
Yeah.
You got to start somewhere. So I appreciate your willingness to go through it and your willingness to humor us as we kind of figured out how to improve it and how to get better. Obviously, there's 2 other individuals, I believe, that were part of that class. Lives, right? And then Travis.
Yeah. Wonderful people.
Yeah.
They're so cool.
Yeah.
I love working with them. Anytime we see each other, it's just the instant recognition of like, hey, we know each other.
Yeah.
And
like
we know we've been through it.
We've seen things.
We've been in the trenches.
Yeah.
So it's been fun. I also love those folks. They're great.
Yeah, that's really awesome. All right. Now that you've actually, of course, gotten out of the apprenticeship program, when you got in the field, what was the hardest part?
Probably just being afraid of screwing somebody's house up, to be honest.
Yeah.
In Hickory, there's a lot of older systems.
Yeah.
There's a lot of oil furnaces, a lot of gas furnaces, and only a handful of folks really mess with oil.
Yeah.
And, well, I absolutely love it now.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things to work on. But I think my biggest fear, definitely.
You may be the third person in the history of heating and air to say, I love to work on oil furnaces. But
they're great. Yeah. I know I'm strange, but they're great. They're fantastic.
You like the smell.
Perhaps. Maybe. But they're fun.
Yeah. Could your wife, when you got home, was she like...
Not a lick. She hated it.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're about to ask. No, okay. She hated it. By
she
far,
was like,
she
you
hated
were working
it.
on oil today, weren't you?
Yep, most definitely. And fun fact, so Dylan, he was the service tech. He was like 90% of my training, essentially. And when I was working with him, there was one particular oil job that we did where there's this oil filter, arm's length high, basically on the roof of her basement. He knew what was about to happen. I had no clue. I was like, I'm ready to learn. Let's go. Green as could be. And he said, all right, Spence, this one's yours. You can take this off. Knowing very full well I was about to take a shower in oil. So that was a fun time. The wife was very appreciative coming home smelling like that. It was fun. But anyway, good memory.
Oil will change you.
It did.
That's pretty funny. All right. How did the QCC role come about for you, and what made you want to take that? Yeah, how long had you been a tech for at that point?
At least 3 years.
Yeah.
It was about 3. Okay. Just about.
Yeah.
So the need.
Had you raised your hand through PDP saying you were looking for something?
I had.
Yeah, okay.
So about probably like 6 months before the QCC role opened up, there was different trainer positions that I had volunteered for. I said, hey, I'll take a stab at it. And even during that time, there was a service manager role that opened up as well. I said, hey, I'll take a stab at that too. Shoot. I just want to learn and grow and be pushed out of my comfort zone and improve. And
why? All right. Why though? Is there anything beyond learning? Did you want to lead people? Did you want to manage people? Or you just
There's a good reason. Yeah. So I've learned pretty early in my life that seeing change in another human's life is beautiful. Before all my work experience and things like that, I had spent like 2 years on a church service mission. And that was the number one key thing I brought back, is that everybody has a different life, but everybody can improve. And seeing like a first-hand account of people adapt and change was kind of like a light bulb moment to me. I'd like to be a part of that. And so applying for the service manager role is a way for me to see directly into people I work with every day. And that's my favorite aspect of it, really, is seeing them develop, seeing their gears click, seeing their skill set improve so that they can improve the quality of their life, but do the same path I went, providing for their family. And that's my absolute favorite thing, really.
So it was that trip that you connected the dots?
More or less, It
was like the ability and the want to impact somebody else's life.
100%.
I say every now and then, or if I ever have to speak at a wedding or something along those lines, like I always have this line that I say, which is happiness is the most powerful emotion, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether it's yours or not. And what I mean by that is a lot of times I think people don't realize like the best path to happiness is giving it to someone else. And it's like, if you really want to have a successful marriage, you should focus every day on making the other person happy, and in reward 90% of the time, okay? I'm not saying this is foolproof.
Oh, they're wise words.
But you will receive the benefits on focusing on, making someone else happy. Hence why it's kind of that most powerful emotion, right?
Believe it full-heartedly.
I think that is true in business and in life, where unless you are willing to give your all to those around you and below you, you can't have any expectation that you're going to receive any benefit yourself. And a lot of people, not necessarily here, but in life, it's like they're so focused on the what's in it for me mentality, or serve themselves first. And it's like the best way, the rising tide method, is bring all of those around you up and just give them as much energy as humanly possible, and you'll receive the benefit of not only helping them, right? Not only helping grow them, but also the fact that they are collectively growing you. You're one of the few people that at least understand the power. I don't know if that's a lot of what we've been talking about recently, but to see the power and actually be able to observe that and understand that you control that is huge. So kudos to you, Spencer.
Thank you.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
That's pretty awesome. I want to talk more about this QCC and then how you ended up in the service manager role, but I mean, hit on that for me.
Sure.
Like what are you doing to build relationships? Like, how is that going so far in your new position?
I can gladly talk about that. So there's kind of like a few answers to that, but I'll start with most, I guess, elephant in the room one. There's a newer program that we've been doing to help elevate all of our technicians, those who may not have gotten the support they needed, especially coming right out of Dad CEO.
Yeah,
is a good example anyway. And there's some of us who have come in from outside of Dad CEO who've joined that may or may not have had continual development, I guess.
Yeah.
Or been shown, hey, here's a really cool tool. This is what works for me. Can it work for you?
Yeah.
And I'm really stoked about it, to be honest. And it's also amazing for me to see from my peers or anyone higher up invest time in me so I can invest time in others.
Yeah.
It kind of trickles down a little bit.
Yeah.
So, for example, we have a few guys that we've met, one-on-one, frequently trying to say, hey, I know that support may not have been there, or is it there, has it been there, what works for you, what doesn't work, where can I step in to truly help you?
Yeah.
And we've identified a lot of things already, which is phenomenal, but there's definitely more growth, I think, that's still yet to be learned.
Two things on that. First of all, what was your expectation of what a service manager did versus now that you're kind of learning the role and you're in the role, you find is either different or is actually what you do?
Sure. I want to say probably from the outside looking in, I would say I've seen a lot of service managers essentially just be tech support.
Yeah.
And someone calls on the job, hey, how does this work?
Yeah. So is that what you thought originally when you were applying?
That and dealing with eager customers. That's about it.
Yeah. Before you got the QCC, were you thinking, hey, I get to go be tech support?
Essentially. That's kind of what I'd seen.
Yeah.
And then coming into it, I see there's a lot more behind the scenes.
Yeah.
A lot more in depth than just call by call coaching, for example. There's a lot more planning involved. There's a lot more, okay, what was the mindset of this person at that time, both customer and technician? Yeah. There's a lot more that goes on to it than I could have ever imagined. And I love the challenge, really. Yeah. It's fun.
Is it harder than you thought it would be?
Yes. I won't lie. Yes. It's a little harder, but I love it. That's what it should be.
I mean, maybe this could get into why it's hard, because the second thing, I said two things. The second thing is, like, I've been through, I can't even count how many times I've been put into management positions throughout, like, career progression and stuff like that. And it's really tough to come into a new role for the first time and then manage people and have to hold people accountable. Mm-hmm. So how have you, and you may not have a good answer yet because it's still so fresh, but it's like, to make that switch from what was once a peer to now I'm a manager, how have you navigated that? Have you had pushback? Has it been awkward? Is it challenging?
It really varies person to person.
Yeah.
Because I've had a different relationship with each one of the guys that is very different. Yeah. There's some who have never seen me before. So I was in quality control stuff, and then all of a sudden, who's this joker? Coming in trying to be all happy and say, here, guys, I'm going to help you today.
Yeah. I'm your service
manager.
Exactly,
Do what I say. And then you've got the other guys that were used to just trash talking. cutting jokes and everything. And so then all of a sudden I have to change my face and say, well, actually, here's where you suck.
Yeah.
But here's where I've noticed you can improve. Yeah. It's a much easier way to say that.
Yeah, that's a good learning lesson there.
Yeah, a little bit. I can't be really careful with how you
good
say
job,
things.
Spencer.
But it's still a learning curve for me, I would say.
Yeah. Is it that level of you don't feel, I don't know, is it difficult to sit down with somebody and be like, here's what you're doing wrong?
That might just be a personal thing, because I always believe in people, and I believe in their best. Yeah. And it's hard for me to bring up bad news often. Yeah. To call them out on some of their errors, but honestly, that's the only way they're going to grow. Yeah. You can't know if you can't improve if you don't know if you're doing something wrong. Yeah. It's one of the best ways to grow. But that's the most awkward still. Or I should say, that's probably one thing I'm more wary of, is I want to be right before I call them out on something. Yeah. Is this really their problem? Yeah. And so they don't feel attacked, but rather, oh, shoot, I'm being chastised. I know this is correct. That's what I need.
Well, I mean, maybe going back to your experience when you came out, like, what is it that you wish that you had when you were, level one, just going into the field? I mean, did you wish that you had that level of support?
Sure do. Yeah. Definitely. No, there's no other way to say it, but yes, I wish I did have that level of support. Yeah. No one's perfect, but that was definitely something that I would have enjoyed.
What do you all right, what do you think your biggest mistake thus far as a new manager has been?
The dictionary version, or do you want the SparkNotes version?
Give me Spark.
Okay, all right, I might be here for a therapy session then.
I don't need the Webster's.
Okay,
version.
all right, fair enough.
Like, is there some? Maybe let me rephrase it.
Sure.
Is there something that you thought you would be good at that you've realized that you're not?
The biggest challenge that I thought I'd be better at is flicking the light switch at home. So, for example, I get phone calls all day, and that's not a problem. I love that. I want them to contact and call me. But sometimes if I'm stressed or I have, my kids screaming and yelling, it's hard to split back and forth to being manager mode to being father mode. And that's something that we're managing and we're figuring out. And thankfully, I have the best wife in the world who's super supportive and able to help. But I think that's just a learning experience that's going to be there. Yeah. And that's definitely still a challenge that will probably never go away.
Yeah. It's funny, man. I used to joke this about multiple kids, and I think the same is true for especially when you're in a management position where, unfortunately, it is what you can say, don't take your work home with you, but, like, if you care and you're trying to help people, like, that work is coming home with you. It doesn't matter. Yeah. But I used to say, it's like, one kid is awesome, but when you add two, it's compounding in a way of, like, if I had a scale of 1 to 10 on, like, my patience, for example, right, and I had one kid, right, they could do, like, a level 6, right, of like patience testing, and I'd be like, it's still kind of cute, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
it's like,
okay,
all right, fine, we'll handle it.
Like, they tip the trash can over, it goes all over the place, but they're sitting there, like, in the middle, and you're like,
okay.
And
they say it really cute.
Yeah, let's clean this up.
You're
blah, blah, blah.
fine.
Yeah, it's okay. Just when you have two kids and they both do a level 6, it's additive in the sense of now you're at 12.
Yep, I understand that.
So the one kid that would have gotten the treatment of, oh, it's okay, like that mentality, now all of a sudden you're like, what? And then you're yelling at two kids or reacting differently than you would have reacted if it was one, and so on and so forth with 3. Like, by the time that the other 2 have done their 6th level patient testing issue, and then the third one does like a level 1 cuteness, you're already at 13, so you're responding at 13 level patience testing. Very long way of saying the same is true when you're a manager, because you're being tested all day and you're feeling, obviously, clearly, the stress of, again, trying to help and better those around you and support the team and support the location. So you're coming home at a 5.
Yeah.
Right? And then what would have been that 6 is now
Way
11.
too freaking high.
Yeah. And it's that level of like, all right, how do you compartmentalize, right? And the best way, not that you're asking for advice, but just
I'll take it.
Yeah, the best way that I've found is back to what you said earlier, man, which is that kind of purpose-driven responsibility. And you know why you're there, but you also know why you're home. And just, I'm not saying that you separate them because that's impossible if you care. But what you can do is compartmentalize them in a way of like, I need to put, I have a 10 scale here and I've got a 10 scale here, because I found myself as a young dad doing that way too much, and it wasn't fair to my kids, right? I'm not saying, again, that's going to help you, but that's how I kind of like bifurcated them in my head.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So anyway, I understand exactly what you're saying, by the way.
Thank you. Nice to be validated.
Yeah. It doesn't make it easier.
No, but we can struggle together still.
All right. You ever miss being in the field, by the way?
Yeah, definitely. But that's kind of why I love being in this role, because I'm not exactly away from it either.
Yeah.
I can definitely hop in the truck and be with somebody on their call or anything like that. There's been times when I actually just had this conversation with another person this morning where we're looking at the board and seeing what people had. I was like, dang, they're busy. Well, that sucks. I'm glad I'm sitting in a chair today. This is wonderful. And there's half and half of that. There's times where you're sitting in a chair and say, this hurts. I just want to, and my brain is trying to, melt. And I got so many things jumbled in there. I wish I could just have something so simple as putting in a thermostat today. Yeah. But that just kind of comes with it. So thankfully, I can kind of do both. Yeah. Both worlds a little bit.
Yeah.
But yes.
It's funny, as you continue to progress, it's like those things that you thought were stressful. Like, I mean, think about the first time that you wired a thermostat.
Yeah.
Like, it's not complicated, but you're like...
Your heart's beating.
Yeah, correct.
You're worried about the company. People will think about you. It's like, I'm supposed to be professional,
And then now you're like, man.
It's not that simple. I wish.
Nostalgia.
If only. Only you were thinking that good.
All right, we've talked a lot about coaching here lately. You alluded to some of this, but what is one KPI that you wish all of your techs knew? Like, just before you even call them or talk to them or sat down with them, like, what is the one? And I'm not saying you're right or you're wrong. Sure. I'm just saying to you, what is the most impactful KPI?
Well, not to drink the juice too much from what we've been told from higher ups, but it's exactly right. Yeah. The KPI that I would want my guys to understand is definitely combined conversion rate.
Yeah.
That's
good answer.
Appreciate it. Essentially, it's going to be what on each call they bring in that's above the dispatch fee plus any kind of leads that they're setting.
Yeah.
The rest of the KPIs are also very important, but if you've got those locked in, the rest should be able to follow through. Yeah. The more options you're providing that are correct per customer, the more they're going to see the value you've put in. Yeah. And they'll see, oh, shoot, maybe I should be a member with Call Dad. And all of a sudden, hey, now you got 2 KPIs growing.
Yeah.
It more or less can funnel down and be at a root cause, your combined conversion rate. I would love for my guys to understand how important that is.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I mean, obviously, like, from a nuance perspective, there are other KPIs that are more indicative of, maybe granular performance, right? But what, to me, combined conversion says is, did we get a customer or not? Right? And again, I know it's not that perfect, but it's pretty darn close to, if your combined conversion is 30%, that means 70% of the time you're not solving a problem for a customer.
Sure.
Right? And that's a problem. Like, that's, our brand exists to solve problems for customers, so we need to be converting those customers. And if we're not, what are we doing wrong?
Right.
So I'm really glad you picked that one, by the way. Good job, Spencer.
Well, I appreciate it.
How do you help a tech improve combined conversion?
Well, each one has to be approached a different way.
Yeah.
Each one's got their own issues and situations, their own level of learning and growth. It really comes down to knowing who they are and what makes them grow. What's the motivation? But for mine, it was family. For other people, it's just getting a higher ticket. Some people, it's paying off debt.
Yeah.
It really helps in understanding and helping them feel like they're understood.
Yeah.
And then they can let you help them.
Yeah.
That's been big for me, from what I've seen anyway. From all my past experiences, if they don't feel like you're wanting to help them, they're not going to want you to ever have any input at all in their life.
Yeah. Comparing and changing gears here a little bit. Comparing Call Dad today versus Sky HVAC that you joined in 2022. What's the biggest change, and what are you most proud of in the evolution of this company?
Man, that's a big answer. It's a big question for a big answer. I would say probably like the identity of it, if that's going to make any sense by that word. Because who we are now is Call Dad. I remember the transition. Everyone kind of like scoffed at it a little bit. Some loved it. Some said like, this is a weird name.
Name names.
I don't remember anymore.
Spencer,
it's been a hot minute. It's been a hot minute. But a lot, I could tell you that probably the people who made fun of it the most were probably the people who worked here for the first little bit, because it was such a drastic change. Yeah. But then we actually sat down and you think about it. I know not everybody's had a perfect relationship with their actual dad, or no one's, but we all have what our ideal situation would be. Yeah. And it just makes sense. Yeah. If I'm in dire straits from a small scrape on the knee or financial crisis, I'm going to call Dad. I need help. Yeah. That's what the general consensus of what we want it to be. That's how I want to be for my kids. Yeah. So the identity of the company from before to now, I think, is huge. Yeah. It's something where I love sharing where I work. I can say, I work for Call Dad. And it's not like a badge of honor in that sense. Yeah. That's really cool to hear. So thank you for sharing that. I agree. Like, that was part of my fear with the naming convention, is that of like, well, wonder if you don't have a good relationship with your dad, or you don't. And a wise man once said that aspect of, you're either trying to fill your father's footsteps, right, or fill his shoes, or you're trying to make up for his mistakes and indiscretions, right? So like, either way, there's some drive there, and it's not any specific dad per se. It's the essence of what should a dad stand for. So in my case, it's my stepdad too. He's a wonderful man. I have to say, because he'll probably see this. He's a fantastic man, and I've never seen my mom smile nearly as much in her entire life than this guy. So that is awesome. It's huge. It's huge for me. Happiness. It's true. It's good. All right. What advice would you give to an apprentice who's in the program now, coming out of the program, or wants to join the program one day? It's one piece of advice you would give for a Dad CEO apprentice. Gotcha. I don't want to say something as cliche as like seize the day or anything like that, but it's not too far from the truth. You can say carpe diem. I know, carpe diem, whatever. It's the same idea though. What's the soup du jour? Exactly. It's the soup of the day. But in all essence, it's enjoy every day, really. Yeah. You are in control of your own happiness. You are in control of your own learning. Like, to anybody who's like going in through the program, how much you soak in depends on you. There's resources out there for you to learn and grow from. There's people you can ask for help. There's tech outside sources. Look on YouTube, look on Google, ask ChatGPT, ask anything. Look for help, and it is there. For me, what's helped me grow in any way, so probably can't tell from this anyway, but throughout my life I've suffered like crazy social anxiety just growing up. And there was an acronym that was learned or created. It was called No Fear. So No Fear is a motorcycle brand. That's how it kind of got started in my mind anyway, how my acronym for it standard. I remember that because I had like a No Fear shirt. It's around. It's been around for a while. But I didn't know, is that brand an acronym? This is my acronym. This is my acronym that was developed throughout my life. This. Yes. But you came up with this on your own? I coined it off of them because I love motorcycles, and that was where that came from. But my No Fear acronym, I'm not honestly a big fan of acronyms, probably except for just one. A few of them I like, but this one is my favorite. PDPs. Yes, sir. So the No Fear acronym starts with like no, and the F is falling back. If you see a situation you're not comfortable with, no falling back. That is where you need to be right now. E for the next letter in fear is no excuses. When you get into a situation you're uncomfortable with, you will think of every single excuse to stop you from entering that situation or to overcome or to create, to overcome that challenge or anything.
So no falling back.
No falling back. No excuses. Don't give yourself an excuse, essentially. If you're not falling back, you're not giving yourself an excuse to get out of there. And then A is for awkwardness. No awkwardness. If you followed steps 1 and 2, you've not fallen back. You're blocking all the excuses. You're in that situation. There's no awkwardness in that moment. And then finally R, no regrets. You've done everything that you can to prove no fear in this moment. At the end of the day, there's no regrets. No matter how that situation unfolds, you yourself have done all that you can.
Yeah.
There's no regret, no fear.
Yeah. Spencer, that's awesome, man. You came up with this on your own?
A long time ago. Yeah.
How old were you when you came up with this?
About 19 or 20, probably.
Yeah. That's awesome. No falling back, no excuses, no awkwardness, no regrets.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool, man.
Thank you.
I don't know if we can end on anything better than that other than no fear. And especially because, like, I can still picture in my head that no fear shirt that I had. Mm-hmm. Because I loved dirt bikes as a kid.
Heck yeah.
And it was like, that shirt to me was the quintessential, like, this guy, I love it.
Yeah.
But that is awesome, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. No falling back, no excuses, no awkwardness, no regrets. Spencer, thank you, man.
Thank you.
I appreciate you taking the time to join us.
Appreciate you taking my time as well. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Let me come by.
Yeah, and thanks for sharing.
I do have a question for you, though, if you don't mind.
No questions. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. No, fire away.
Sure.
What you got?
So, I haven't given much of a challenge. It's kind of still the beginning of the year for my guys, but I want them to have, like, just as a goal and say, hey, if you reach this goal, I know it's kind of big and hairy and crazy, but I'm willing to let you pie me in the face.
Yeah.
My question to you is there a goal or something that I can tell my guys? It has to be a big one, I'm sure. What would it take for them to be able to have to pie you in the face?
Man.
What can I give them to do? What do you want them to do?
Oh, man.
It doesn't have to be with my guys. It could be company-wide.
Are you asking this because you want it or because they want
it?
A
little bit.
Okay.
I do want the glory.
I mean, I think if every single tech in Q4 is above service standards, pie in the face.
Sounds good.
Is that
100%.
a good one?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I like it.
Okay. I'll shake on that.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Awesome. I'll dig it.
Sounds
I expect to be pied in the face
yes,
at the
sir.
end of December or early January next year.
Got it.
I won't get into any dad jokes or anything. I'll be sure not to.
Fair enough. We'll go with that.
All right. Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. Great question. That's the best question I've been asked. Good job, Spencer.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Did you have fun?
I did.
You did good, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Well done.
Fun. Thanks for having me here.
All right.
So is that it?
We're going to do
You
this.
ready?
Oh, no.
Yes, that's a wrap. The room collapsed. That's actually funny.
That'll work.
That reveals the layers. Shoot, we're destroying this. Sorry.